We're now going to talk about dimensioning in Inventor. Dimensioning in Inventor is incredibly easy. You are expected to dimension according to the rules set out in British Standards 8888. Those are the standards that we use all the time. These are actually available on the SQA website. If you want to look for them, just literally search SQA standards and conventions. The only thing with that is you actually get the standards for everything from National 4 all the way up to Advanced Higher. But even so, it's all useful information. With the dimensioning, we're only going to dimension the 2D orthographics. We don't need to do any dimensioning on the isometrics. It can happen sometimes, but we're not doing this. To do this, we're going to once again be in the Annotate tab, and we're going to use the Dimension tool to do some different kinds of dimensions. Now, the first and the most easy type of dimension is to do an overall height. I want to dimension from this top edge all the way down to this bottom edge. I'm taking care to make sure that I'm highlighting the correct edge. I don't want to accidentally get the interior edge, which is represented by the hidden detail dashed line. Okay, so I'm going to click the top edge. I'm going to move my mouse. I've got a dimension running, but that's not the one that I want. I'm going to click the bottom edge and move my mouse out a little bit of a distance, not too far. I don't want it all the way over there. That's ridiculous. But I'm going to move it outside the shape and click again. Now, this box is going to pop up. That's in case you want to edit anything, add in any extra symbols. I don't want to in this case, and I'm not going to want to very often. So if I click this little text box, edit dimension when created, that's going to stop popping up. So I'm going to click OK. Then I maybe want to think about dimensioning this where the height of this ledge is. So I'm going to, again, I've still got dimension highlighted. I'm going to click the top edge, and I'm going to click the bottom, and I'm going to drag out my dimension. Now, I am not going to drag it outside the one that I already created. The reason for this is a smaller dimension than the one I've already created. So according to British standards, I have to nest it inside. So I'm just going to click here. This seems like a good spot for it. I don't ever want to be putting my dimension inside the drawing. It starts to look messy and confusing. And the point of this is to make it as easy to understand as possible. Then I might also want to put in a dimension for whereabouts this center point of this arc is going to be. Now I could dimension it on this side, but the information is exactly the same over this side, and I've got more space over here. So that's where I'm going to choose to do it. I'm going to choose the dimension between this point here and this point there. Drag it out, click again. It's always that little triangle of clicks. So there's lots of things on here that I could dimension. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm just going to do some of them. A good guide is to look at your preliminary sketches, and any dimensions which are included on the preliminary sketches you want to put somewhere on your page. Now I could also be putting widths on here. I could be putting widths on an end elevation if I had them. However, all of these widths are actually diameters. So for example, if I click between here and here, you will see that the symbol that comes up, oh, that didn't do what I was expecting. Normally that would come up with a little diameter symbol. I don't actually want that. It doesn't make sense if something is a circle which has a diameter. Yeah, you can see in here that if what I really wanted to do to follow convention is I would actually, that's me double clicking on the number. I would click that little diameter and click OK, and that would appear. Now, if I had no other way of drawing that circle and highlighting the dimension, that would do. But I do have another way of drawing this, of representing that dimension on a circle. And if you just let me pan over, it's up here. Okay, I'm going to want to always diameter my circles where they actually look like circles. So I'm going to press escape so that I don't just keep selecting the dimension over and over again. Hit delete to get rid of it. And now that I'm in here, I'm going to click my outermost circle and bring that dimension in. Now I'm also going to go in with some other ones, and I'm going to just click the circles and drag them out. Again, I don't want any of these circle dimensions to get confused or mixed up with any other dimensions, so I'm going to make sure that they're spaced well apart and they're not going to get messed up. Okay. The last kind of type of, well, that's not true actually, there's two more that I need to talk about, but circles always have a diameter. If it's an arc, like it is here, you're going to end up with a radius, which is represented by that letter R. So R12 means that from here to here is a radius of 12. Again, because I've done that on there, I don't need to do it on there as well. I could also do a radius on this little fillet, except it doesn't want to let me do that. Okay, so I can't get a dimension to work here. That's not a massive problem. What I can do is put in a little note to explain what that is, and I'll show you that in just a wee second. So if at any point your dimension button fails or doesn't do what you're expecting, there is a way to add in dimensions. Now this little chamfer here, if I dimension it like that, I get this weird diagonal dimension. That's not really going to be suitable. If I drag it straight up, I get that kind of dimension and I get that kind of dimension. It's not the best way of illustrating that a chamfer has happened. Best way to do that instead is to go to this leader text tab. I'm going to click to create my text. Whoops, sorry, that was the wrong way around. Hang on. I'm going to click and I'm going to click the surface or the edge that I want to talk about. I'm going to drag out a leader arrow and draw what I want, right click and continue. Now from in there, I'm going to get a little text box to pop up so I can type in chamfer 7 by 45 degrees. If I had a degree symbol in here, I could put it in, but I don't actually need to because 7 by 45 is obvious enough. The 7 means that it is a chamfer of 7 millimeters, and the 45 refers to the angle. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out to make sure that that's in the right place. It's not. So, same thing, press escape. I can actually go in and move these lines about as I need to. There we go. And that's the same kind of way that I could use to put that little fillet dimension on there. So that's dimensioning. There is one other type, which is called chain dimensioning. That involves, if I just move this, so that's a little bit more snug. Say I wanted to add in this dimension from here to here, or this size in here. Now I don't need to because I've already got this chamfer information in there, but just to show you this second style of dimensioning. If I click from here to here, drag out this dimension, to follow British standards, I want these to line up with each other, all right? They should be completely parallel. Shouldn't be off at a little step thing. If they are going to line up with each other, line them up and click to create it. So your two different types of dimension, and again, this is discussed in the course notes as well if you want to go to the content library to have a look, are when you nest small dimensions inside big dimensions, and then when you run them parallel to each other. Or not parallel to each other, in line with each other. To clarify, this style of dimensioning is parallel dimensioning because these lines are parallel to each other. This style of dimensioning is chain dimensioning because they are running along like links in a chain.